bent down and picked up yet another starfish. And as he threw it back into the sea, he replied, "Made a difference at least to that one." So what the man said? He gave a nice learning for us. He said, I may not be able to help hundreds of people, but one fish I can really do a difference, right? So he picked up one starfish and he threw it into the water. Suddenly, the iceberg started melting in my heart. Whose heart was this iceberg melting? The author's heart. Author always ran away, right? We read in the lesson starting, whenever the author saw someone suffering, he always moved away from there, thinking that I cannot help these people. Now, when he heard this dialogue of the person, immediately the iceberg, what is this iceberg? Iceberg is nothing but a large mountain of ice. It started melting. That means he had lot of suffering in his heart. He didn't want people to suffer. He couldn't see the suffering. The author couldn't see the suffering. But he didn't know what to do or how to help them. So now it started melting. And I have realized what I am supposed to do with all those endless problems that I came across every day in my life. So now the learning was that the author realized that now I know how I will help people and how I can bring down the suffering, at least little bit of the suffering of the people around me. I cancelled my vacation and flew back home. So after the incident, he went back to his room wherever he is staying. He immediately cancelled his trip, again brought a return ticket and came back home. When I saw my mother this time, I didn't ask her whether she needed any more medicine. I stayed by her bed and talked to her, gave her water to take the medicine. She felt happy and content. So after the author realized, that he could help people and be happy with people's suffering also, he came back home, and the moment he saw his mother this time, he gave her medicine. Instead of giving her only medicine, he sat next to her or beside her. He spoke to her. He gave water to her to take the medicines. And when he spent so much of time with his mother also felt very happy. Right? She felt very happy and she was content. Satisfaction was there in her heart. She felt very happy. This ice in my heart melted a little more. When he saw his mother happy, he felt more happy. As I was going to work, I saw some beggars crying for help. So when he was going to work, every day previously also he saw beggars, right? The same beggars were crying for help. I stopped at a young boy. I took my lunch box and gave it to him. So he removed his lunch box and gave it to the small boy. I saw a lot of happiness in his eyes. So the man could see happiness in the young boy's eyes. When he gave the lunch box, the boy was feeling very happy about it. And again his heart became warm. So warm is nothing but he felt love coming up when he was doing such activities. At the workplace, I went to my colleague and said to him, "How are you? Can we have lunch together in the canteen today?" So the author now changed his ways. Previously, the author never used to speak much to people and all. So after going to the office, he went to his colleague. Colleague is nothing but a person who works along with us. Okay. So he went to him and asked him, "How are you? Can we have lunch together today in the canteen?" And that colleague of his was surprised. I could see a smile on his face the whole day. So he felt that he was giving happiness. What was the author doing here, children? He was giving happiness to people. He gave happiness to his mother by talking to her, spending time with her, giving medicines to her. So there he was caring towards his mother. And next, when he came onto the road, when he was going to the office, he gave his lunch box to the young beggar and made him happy. So he also felt happy when he saw the happiness there, right? Now in the office, just by greeting others and finding out how they were and having a lunch with them, he made him more happy. So now the author was very much happy. That evening, when I was driving back home, I saw a huge crowd on the road. This time, I didn't drive fast. I stopped and inquired, It was an old man. He was hit by an auto rickshaw. Everyone in the crowd were busy talking about how bad the traffic was and how reckless the drivers were. I took my phone from my pocket and called for an ambulance. Soon the ambulance came and lifted the old man to the hospital. The old man looked at me. There was a gratitude in his eyes. My heart turned warm and few tears rolled down my cheek. I felt so light. So this is a wonderful experience. So when he was coming back home after the office, what happened was he saw that there was lot of crowd on the road. As usual, previously when some accident took place, we know that the author never stood by there to find out what happened. But now he is a changed person. So what he did, he went there, he asked people what happened. So an auto rickshaw hit an old man and the old man was lying there and he was hurt badly also. And what were the people doing over there? They were all discussing. The traffic is so bad nowadays, people are driving very rashly, nobody waits for another one. Like this they were going on discussing, but nobody was bothered about the old man. So now here the author reacted immediately. What did he do? He immediately called for an ambulance. He took out his phone and he called the ambulance. The ambulance came and the old man was taken into the ambulance on a stretcher. So when the old man was going in, he understood that he was observing, no, he was hurt, but he was observing people around. And all the people were busy with other things. But only the author was the one who called the ambulance. So he had tears in his eyes and he was thanking through the eyes. The gratitude is that only, when we thank some people for the help they do, right? So through his eyes, he gave a message to the author that you thank you. And that was the time when the author's heart started melting and he cried. That means this crying is not weeping with a sound or anything. That's a cry of happiness he could see, and he felt so light in his heart and he was happy about it. Yes. Now this is a wonderful experience of an author. Not only an author, many people in their life don't understand how to help people. Okay. So there are many ways we can help others. So when someone in the class who cannot is not having a pencil, when you give him a pencil in the class for that day, your friend is also very happy, right? So you need to thank each other. This is what gratitude is all about. Okay children, now that the lesson is over, I request every one of you to do tickle the mind activity, read the lesson again with your pencil in your hand, underline the difficult words and the new words, learn its spelling and understand its meaning. Okay, and at the end of the lesson we have some exercises for you. Try doing the exercises. Thank you children.